Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. Today I'm doing a quick video regarding a problem that I've been having with my Fatshark Dominator V2 DVR footage. I was getting the footage back and it wasn't recording properly. I was getting a line at the bottom of the screen and it would flicker, and it seemed to be intermittent as well. Sometimes I would record and I get great footage back, but most times I would get the footage back with this line along the bottom and it was unusable. And I realized what the problem is. So it turns out that the Fatshark DVR has format recognition built into its software. What does that mean? Well, our FPV cameras that we are using either come in PAL or NTSC format. It's basically down to the number of lines that are in the screen. So NTSC has a slightly less number of lines than PAL. If you are using an NTSC camera, but this is recording in PAL, then it's going to have more lines available to record, and that is exactly what is happening with this. So it doesn't know what to do with those other lines, and that is basically what causes the error. So what can you do about that? Well, there's two things you can do. Either make sure that you have powered your camera up first before turning on your Fatsharks, and that is why it seemed to be inconsistent, because if you've plugged an NTSC camera in like this one first and then turned your Fatsharks on, your Fatsharks are going to see that as an NTSC camera and start recording in NTSC format. But as default, they turn on as PAL, so if you haven't turned on your camera and you turn on your goggles, it's going to default in that PAL mode. You know, when you get your static through the goggles, yeah, it's going to come through as PAL and record as PAL. Kind of an annoying feature, really, because you can't change it. There's no menu to set. It's all within the software. But there is something you can do if you're finding it really annoying, which I am doing. Fatshark luckily has kind of a solution. I am mostly using NTSC cameras, but obviously you can choose when, you know, picking your FPV gear. So I went to Fatshark's support and they replied really quickly, actually, and they gave me a link, and what that link does is you can download 2 bits of firmware, and that allows the Fatshark goggles to either power up with NTSC as default or power up as PAL as default. And what you do is you put the bin file onto your micro SD card, push it in, and then when the goggles turn on, it will flash. And then when it stops flashing, that is when it has updated the firmware. And then you can take that SD card out, remove the bin file, and then your goggles will always start up in NTSC. So it's up to you, really, whether you want to do that. I mean, what happens if I all of a sudden decide to change my cameras to PAL for some reason? I mean, obviously, what I'm going to do from now on as well is make sure that I power up the camera before I power up the goggles, but sometimes you just can't remember, you know, it's not the first thing that you're thinking about, you know. You're thinking about the flight and where you're going to fly and things like that. You're not thinking, oh, did I power on the goggles before I powered on the quadcopter? So there you go, a little quick video from me. It is a quick fix, but it is kind of an annoying defect with the Fatsharks. So there you go. I hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.